Now, hello, yes, welcome back to the Potty Mouth Monday night. It's all kicking off there. You can see I'm joined by two lovely ladies there. Kerry, lovely to have you back on as a
Thank you for
regular.
having me back.
Yes, it's nice. Now you're getting into the grind. Now you know it's every week, every
Like,
bloody Monday. Why did I say that? You know what I mean? So,
I'm glad you, invited me back. It obviously went all right then.
oh, yes,
I
God,
did.
yes. People loved you. So, yes, thank you. Honestly, thank you so much. And look who we've got, Kerry. She's back. The godmother, the queen.
Okay, that needs to stop. But but fine.
Right, no more godmother, just the queen. We'll stick to the basics there, you know what I mean? Her highness, you know what I mean? The
Okay.
garden and royalty.
Okay.
Are you glad to be back home then, Audrey? Is
Oh,
it?
I am so glad to be home.
Hmm.
So glad to be driving around these huge streets
Hmm.
where street signs are all in the same place. So things are easy to find. Uh yeah, no, it's great. It's
You know,
great.
when you just said that, Audrey, we went to the Lake District just for a few days to kind of walk a couple of fells. And even the place where we parked was in like a farmyard, and I had to get through. It was like millimeters to the car park from the road. And then we were leaving, and we thought, oh, we'll call it a little village or a town called Cockermouth. The sat nav took us through back streets again, like millimeter streets, and I'm like thinking, what's going on here? So I
Yeah.
know exactly, just you know what I mean.
I
But
love when it comes to the point where it says, "Oh, now we're going to really challenge you. It's only one car wide." So you both figure out
work it
who's
out.
going through and who's not. So yeah, we don't have those.
Mhm.
So very novel, but no thanks.
Did you ever, Audrey, when you were there, have to reverse to let another car, or did you just plow
No,
through?
no. Kevin was pretty good at like getting off the road as far as he could before we fell down a ravine. But yeah, he didn't like how close that all
Oh, I
was.
know. Well, I remember when he parked up, Audrey, when you came to ours, and he just said the roads. Because I was thinking maybe roundabouts might be a bit of a task for you, but it wasn't. Roundabouts were all right. It was the bloody narrow.
But roundabouts were really annoying
All right.
because it's like every at certain points they were like every 200 yards.
Yeah.
Like here comes another roundabout, and you got to go 1, 2, 3. Well, you can. It's easy sometimes to miscount, and then you get thrown into I don't know where. And I think is it too hard to put just numbers on like anyway. Uh,
But you're back.
driving was driving was a stressful challenge. Yes.
You're back home, and I just want to ask you before we kind of crack on. Oh, this is part of the kind of conversation. Was your garden all right? Was it looked after?
My garden is fabulous. There's not a lot out there yet, but all the goodies on the inside are beautiful, healthy. I've got a outdoor table full of plants that I'm starting to harden off. So we're going to start throwing that stuff in the ground tomorrow. Oh, and today I'm going to the big, huge garden center right
Oh,
after this. There's a couple things that I don't have that,
hmm.
you know.
God, I've relied on garden centres this time. Do you know what I mean? Half
Oh,
my
I
kind of.
think I think that's why they're there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like
Mm.
just use them.
Use
So
them.
I'm going to fill in a few of my gaps and of course buy more flowers than I need and it'll be a great day.
Do you, Kerry, use garden centres? You know, like I say, for me, it was especially tomatoes this time. I just kind of missed my tomato growing season, so there's a lot of mine have been like garden centre. And luckily enough, the day I came, because I had to go into hospital, the day I came out of hospital, I sowed some garnets. Now I've just
Mm.
planted them. Put them in the polytunnel there. So fingers crossed. But do you go to garden centres, Kerry? Are you a lover of them or?
I'm in garden centres almost as much as I'm in the garden or on the plot. I love a garden centre. Yeah. But I don't particularly buy. vegetables or starts from the garden centre. It's more I buy flowers from there. So I like to look, I like to see what they've got and compare it to how mine are doing at home. But I don't tend to buy starts. I tend to get gifted plants. So when things go wrong, I let people know probably through the channel that things have
Yes,
gone wrong, and then yeah, I tend to be given things. So it's just very nice, very kind of people.
that does. I mean, if you heard Mark lost all these chilies a few weeks ago and tomatoes or something, and someone travelled the half the breadth of Scotland to drop some off for him. You know what I mean?
That's nice.
So what plants or flowers do you buy there, Kerry? And just like say ones for the like summer flowers, or do you?
Well, I can't resist a bargain. So anything that's in the poorly corner that's been, reduced by at least half, I tend to, yeah, give it a chance. So dahlias is one of my weaknesses. I've got lots of dahlias that I've started from tubers this year, some of which most of what I saved from last year I left in the ground. So I'm hoping that they're going to come back. I bought a lot more tubers to get started, and they're doing fairly well. And then this week, I was just started taking cuttings from those as well to kind of extend the stock a bit of the
So
dahlia.
would these be in your house garden?
Yes, for the most part. I'm going to see how much space I have. I've got a raised bed in the home garden that I've sort of got my eye on as a bed that I was actually going to do blueberries and dahlias together because I didn't know that dahlias actually prefer acidic soil. So I was planning to put the blueberries in a bed because at the moment they're in pots. I thought, well, I can dig some ericaceous soil in and put the blueberries in. And then
I
I was
didn't know that.
looking for plants to go alongside the blueberries, and dahlias apparently will like the same conditions. So I think I'm going to combine them. But my blueberries have now blossomed and the fruits are starting to form. So I don't think it's actually the best time to be transplanting them out of the pots and putting them into the bed. So I might just have a full dahlia bed as like a cutting flower bed in the garden for this year.
I did have some blueberries a while ago, but I never got I never got because I've picked blueberries in the wild as a kid, I used to live in the Lake District, and behind a certain fell, there was these wild blueberries. They never tasted, they're always like bitter things, the things I've been growing, like the last couple of years or
Oh,
2 years
really?
ago.
Oh, okay. No,
So,
no, they've been lovely. I've got 5 bushes because you do need pollinating partners for blueberries. So, although 2 would do, I've ended up with 5.
5.
Now, that's something.
As you do, garden
Yeah,
centre.
exactly. That's something I do buy from the garden centres is the fruit bushes and berries and things. Um, but yeah, they've been very nice. They've not been massively prolific, which is why I wanted to get them into a bed rather than in pots. But yeah, certainly like pickings every day from them, and they taste absolutely delicious. Yeah, I love
Right,
them. Are
right.
blueberries that do well for you, Audrey? Do you do blueberries?
I have one sad blueberry plant that has done nothing. And now I'm realizing I need two. So that might be why it has done nothing. Uh, so maybe I'll be looking at those today at the garden center.
I think
I love
like you don't always,
blueberries.
yeah, these things that need pollinating partners. I don't think it's always clear. One of the things I did this weekend was move some kiwi plants that I'd got in the back garden, and they were getting swamped by everything else. And I've got 2 of those because you need a male and a female for those. They were hard to dig out though. They'd been in there a couple of years, and like the ground is so solid
Right.
because we've had no rain. And so trying to dig them out, and then because they're a kiwi vine, they twisted all around the fencing. I've got like chicken wire fencing in the garden, and they'd gone all the way around, and there was just no way I could get it off without snapping it. So
So have you replanted that then, Kerry, have you?
yeah, I took them down to the plot and I put them. I've been making tunnel arches. I can't remember if I mentioned it last week that I've got arches up. I put bamboo canes between them and then jute netting over the top, so they create a little tunnel. And I'm going to put beans and pumpkins, sweet peas, French beans. Anything else that I'm putting up there? And then I've got some cup of saucer vine plants that I've never done before, and they're looking great. So they're going to go up. So it'll be a mix of vegetables and flowers along these tunnels that run a lot through the centre of the plot. So my
Oh,
hope is
right,
that it's going to look fantastic. We shall see.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Because I did have a go at doing these tunnels last year, and then, of course, such a year as it was, and everything got eaten by slugs and stuff, and I had like 2 bean plants with a few beans hanging down from the top.
Kerry, that's probably way more than what I had, mind you. And honestly, I built this frame for beans about 3 or 4 years ago, and I've had to take it down without success of beans because the thing's rusted there now.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So I've like it should have lasted a few years for the plants, which I would have gotten a crop, but I didn't even get a decent crop. So it's had to come down. Its whole life, 4 years up, and there's not been like a
I know.
decent set of beans there. You know, I blame Audrey. Do you know what I mean? She keeps sending these bloody Christmas beans, and they haven't germinated again, Audrey.
Well, then maybe you need to start them inside.
I know. Well, it's the
I
other way
think-
around. I think I neglected them, Audrey. To be honest, if I'm,
Oh,
if
I'm pretty sure, Tony. I mean, I've grown them for years. They're a lima bean. They're kind of hard not to grow.
oh, I can feel there straight away.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? I just threw the bloody things out today because I'm all in, Audrey. I'm all in. I've got everything now out of the greenhouse, apart from 5 little cucumbers, which are about that big.
Okay.
Everything's in the polytunnel now.
So are you starting new Christmas beans? Or are you giving
I'm
up?
going to look for the dwarf ones. I don't think I'm not 100% sure. You know the Kalima ones you sent over?
Kalimas.
Kalima. Get it right, Tony. I'm not sure if we can get them over here. We might be able to order. I've never looked, but
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
yeah. But I'm just going
Is that
to.
a hint?
No. Sorry. Yeah. Before the garden centre, just
Yeah,
send
throw
them.
some
Send
in
them over.
the mail, please.
Yeah. No, I normally do, Audrey, like inside plant and put like a little lid on and wait and that. And last year was spotty with Germany, purely with the weather. This year, I think I didn't use the right equipment. I had this wobbly lid on them, and they just dried out. Then they didn't dry out. Then they got wet, and then we've been away for a bit. And I come back, and the polytunnel was like 50 degrees or something. So
Yeah.
Is the Christmas bean then an actual variety? Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've
And
never heard of it.
it's speckled red and white, but more like a burgundy white, I'd call it. And they're fabulous. And they're huge. Well, they're large. I mean, they're not as big as Greek gigantes, but they're a large bean.
I think they're on the Kerry. I think they're on the same size as, like I say, a butter bean.
Well, I was going to say a lima bean is butter bean, I think.
Right.
We
And
would call it butter bean. We
they
don't get
almost
special
taste
ones.
like meat when they're cooked.
Oh,
I mean, they're very, they're good.
because I've got this beef bean to try this year.
A beef bean.
Yeah.
I wonder. Because when this one cooks, it's not red and white anymore. It just looks like kind of like a burgundy, almost meat color.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting bean, but
Because
very
all our
good.
butter beans are white. We only have white butter beans, don't we? Over
Yes.
here?
Yes. I tell you what, we've been getting these at like ridiculous price, but you can get a glass jar. Have you ever seen them carry over here, like jars of, like, say, chickpeas
Yeah.
and butter? But you know what I mean, like, and they're a fortune because you can
Very
buy a tin for like 99 pence. But we've been getting these jars, and he's been making this. Not like a stew, just the beans with the juices and then a few herbs, a few spices. Oh, man, it's just like out of this world. You know what I mean? Who needs meat when it's just that? You know what I mean? Especially if you've got said like a beef one, which I haven't. Did you say beef? You did say
Yeah, it's a bush beef, I think it's called. Ali sent it to me, so I assume it's something that's grown in Canada. I don't know whether it was is it Row 7, that brand of
Yes.
seed? Yeah, I think it's from there because they do a lot of it kind of rare or experimental seeds.
Yes, their
don't
stuff
they?
is all pretty unusual. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going
Oh,
to give that a go this year. But speaking of beef stuff, I've got the beef and onion tree. I'm going to try and grow that. And you eat the leaves, and they're supposed to taste like beef and onion crisps.
Tell me it's not, that's the official name, beef and onion.
It has a real name. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's she grows veg seed, and that's what it's called on the packet: beef and
Right.
onion tree.
beef and onion tree.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Never heard of
No,
that.
no, no.
We shall see. I thought if you took the leaves off and like put them in the air fryer to go crispy, then it might actually resemble a crisp.
Now then,
Really
now
healthy crisp.
Huh.
that's a good
Audrey
idea.
would
That
call them
because
chips, wouldn't
don't
you?
we do like the
Yes.
Cabernet Nero? Don't we kind of like
Oh
crispy
yeah, yeah,
them? You know what I mean? So
yeah. And the outer leaves of the cauliflower are really good air fried as well.
oh,
A little
just
bit of garlic spray on them, and
I've
then
just thrown them out. I did. You know what? Honestly, I swear. Yesterday, we had like this cauliflower, and I thought, you know what? My daughter keeps on talking about this like spice. This like it's like a mild spice. I forget what it is, but you shake it. So I covered them in olive oil, shook the spice, and then put the cauliflower in the oven in like florets, and
was
it
it
came out
harissa?
lovely. But I
Was it
bloody
harissa spice?
no, it wasn't. Oh,
No, because they do harissa spiced cauliflower is a thing. Yeah.
And you can't talk about a spice, Tony, and not remember what it's
I
called.
know. It's downstairs. It's about if I could put my hand through the floor, I could take it out. You know what I mean? It's in the
Tell
kitchen.
Daisy to go get it.
Yes. I know it's lovely, to be honest. Really, really nice. But I've never thought about the leaves, Kerry, to be honest. Just,
Mm. Well,
Hmm.
because you can roast the cauliflower whole with the leaves on and everything, and then just put your paste or whatever on top. These are the kind of things you eat when you're a vegan. Just
see,
a whole roasted cauliflower.
I was going to say, you look,
just the
Yeah,
cauliflower.
nothing with
Just the
it.
cauliflower. Watching,
In a bowl with a spoon.
watching the chase on ITV. There we go. So, what we gonna plant and sow now? Because like I say, I'm kind of finished in the polytunnel. I've got aubergines in there, chilies, tomatoes. I'm gonna bring some cucumbers up. I'm kind of setting there. I've got my sweet potatoes, which actually still haven't come to go in there. But I'm thinking now, let's relax and get some, because I haven't actually. I noticed you, Kerry, you've got your peas in the ground now outside.
Peas are out, but I can't believe how much you've got out, Tony. And especially that you're, further north than I am. I am nowhere near getting my tomatoes.
you've gotten a lot out since I've been there. Because when I was there, I'm not sure there was anything out.
I tell you what the secret is. Retirement. There you go. You know what I mean? What else can do? Do you know what I mean? It's
Well,
like
you're also
walk
not
the dogs.
you're not packing them in either.
Oh,
You're giving
no.
everything plenty of room.
Well, Audrey, I did on I forget like Durham early. I think with the Durham we call them over here Durham early cabbages, like little pointy
Hmm.
cabbages. I think I put about 8 in like that. But most of them big beds, at the most 5 down the middle. So we'll
Yeah.
see if it's a fluke or not. Because I've
And
still
will
got
you plant
some.
anything by the sides of them?
I've got different lettuces. So
Okay. Yeah.
hopefully I can just kind of
Okay.
pick them, before. But Kerry, I'd like say, last year I did this, and it's hard, mind you. Honestly, it's brutally hard not to cram in as many plants as you go. Do you know what I mean? Because I've even still got some, like say, mammoth broccoli. That they're there just in pots, and I'm thinking I could just shove them in, but then that's going to defeat the whole. Because I'd used one. Have you ever used it, Kerry? The digital guides that tell you how much to
I have
plant
to
on.
go. Yeah.
And when I did my garden like that, some of my beds it was saying 2 cabbages. And I was thinking, I get about 8 in that bed. So I tried last year to, be reasonable and just put a couple of, I think 4 red cabbages, and I got some big old mother chucker. So I'm thinking less is more. Plus, you can't eat like 12 cabbages in one go. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of.
Well, that's what I think about growing really large veg, though. That it's just me. Am I going to eat an entire head of cabbage if it's absolutely huge? I
You're
would
sitting,
prefer
you're
to
sitting
have
down
like,
to a full cauliflower.
that's true. But the cabbages I've just put out are pixie cabbages, and they grow small. So I've just done 4 of those quite close together, and they will grow to a small little head, which will just be perfect for me for like a meal or two then. But I've got loads of other brassicas that need to go out. I've got so much that needs to go out. But the stuff that's in the polytunnel that I need to clear before I can put the tomatoes in, I said last week that some of it had started to flower. It's all brassicas, and some have gone to seed. But then I noticed this week these other ones, they look absolutely fabulous, and they're broccoli heads forming. And I'm like, well, I can't take those out now. I've got to
No.
wait for those. So I'm holding off, and I'm going to try and crop as much broccoli as I can from the polytunnel before I
At
get
the
ready for the tomatoes.
Oh, right. So at the detriment of your tomatoes,
Well, I mean, some
because you
of my
have.
tomatoes.
All right, right.
What I shall probably do, because part of the polytunnel is lettuces and oriental greens, and they are going over. So I could clear those out, put the bigger tomatoes in that section, and then sort of work my way down the polytunnel as things crop, and then add the tomatoes in. Because obviously I've never grown in a space as large as this undercover space, as large as this polytunnel. And I've got 60 tomatoes to go in there. So it's going to be done in stages. I'm not going to do that in one day. So I think, yeah, some come out, put some tomatoes in. And that's why I staggered my tomato sowings anyway, because I did beefsteak first, then I did the salad, then the cherries and the cookers. And I saw you say, Tony, that you weren't putting tomatoes outside this
No,
year, and I'm not going
no.
to either.
So are you? I'm not. I don't want to know exactly where you are, Kerry. But you say half. Are you in Middle England, like halfway down?
Yeah, I'm
Right,
in Leicester.
right. So you'll still be a lot warmer than us because I don't know. They just seem to like get a tomato on, but that season just dribbles away and they don't ripen. Do you know what I mean? And you end up like green chutney or green fried tomatoes or lots
Yeah.
of them.
Um, I haven't had too much of an issue. So generally, I don't start getting tomatoes until the end of August. I'm always late putting them in, and I always abuse my tomatoes. They are never well cared for tomatoes. By the time they go in the ground, they look like they're going to die.
Tough
But
love. So
as soon as
we.
they get in the ground, they just rock it. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I generally crop everything you could crop from them before the end of the season because they're undercover as well. But the ones I did outside, they all got blight before I could take anything
Oh,
off.
right, right.
Yeah.
Even because have you ever done the Crimson Crush ones?
I did crushed heart last year, but they got blight. Because is it the crushed part that indicates the blight resistance?
Oh,
I'm not sure.
I don't
I
know.
thought if there's crushed in the title, you
Right.
tend to get some blight resistance. But I did do 2 other blight resistant ones, and both of them got blight.
I'm not sure about that. I I just know Crimson Crush are pretty hardy to it. Whether all the Crush family is, that's just you know what I mean.
That's what's in my head, but it might not be correct.
So Audrey, then what's ready to go in the ground? Then what's your tables like outside? What's ready
Oh,
to go in the ground?
brassicas for sure, which I'm sad they're not in yet. Um, what else do we have out on the table? Onions, which still aren't in. Leeks, which still aren't in. And some spring flowers that are out there. And then I still have all my peppers and tomatoes, snapdragons, and everything else still under the lights. But I'm going to
Under
start
the
hardening them this week.
right under the lights still,
Oh, yeah, I leave them under the lights still. They go in the ground.
man.
Well,
Mine too.
what do you do with them?
Well, no, well I'm in the
Well, you have a
greenhouse.
greenhouse. You have a greenhouse.
Yeah.
I don't have either of those. So I just leave them and they're very happy in there, but they have to get some real life before they go in the ground. So we got to make some room to get the tomatoes and peppers out on that table. That's my limit. I can
Hmm.
only harden off what's on the table.
Do you think it's an exciting month, isn't it? Because it's
Oh,
especially
it's
up here,
a
like say the northeast of England. It's like we could still get a frost quite easily. And I've looked at the thing. I've got 10 days where it's 9, 10 at night.
Mm,
But that changes. That's the frustrating thing.
we
You
had
look at
a we
your
had a
digital app.
yeah.
I mean, we are cooking outside,
mm.
but it said, oh, it was going to be a bit cloudy and a bit, and it's blue sky. Dogs are panting like anything, can't stay out for too long. It's just red hot out there. So,
Yeah, we had freeze last week, which was kind of shocking, and it's going to be like 80 degrees this week,
hmm
which is we're just going to say that'd be really warm for you guys.
hmm
Uh, so it's that time of year. It's like, high and low. And I
Mm.
feel like the plants, they can handle it. They don't love it, but they seem to all handle it.
I mean, tomatoes are a little bit more than chilies, but chilies would just get knocked. You know what I mean? And honestly, our weather has been so up and down. Like, I fell asleep last week outside in the garden on these, like, your garden furniture, burnt myself. The next day we had a barbecue. We were freezing. Do you know what I mean? We were
Yeah.
wrapped up there. There was sunny, but there was such a cold wind coming around. There's like been a cold wind, so it's tough, isn't
It's
it?
spring.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 26 degrees here today. On the weekend, it's been absolutely glorious. But I thought I heard some rain outside, but maybe someone just put a hose on. But we had rain in Leicester last night.
Yes.
And oh my goodness, thank goodness that we
Hmm.
finally had some rain.
Kerry,
It's been
we've got
ages, Audrey, that we've just had no
Well,
rain.
and what's amazing is when we went to the UK, I said, Kevin, plan on some rain every day. Like that's just assume won't be all day, but it'll be drizzle here, drizzle there. It didn't rain until our third week, and we didn't get much.
Mm.
And I thought, this is crazy. I mean, I'd been there enough as a kid. I know it's always raining over here, and that's why everything is so beautiful. But yeah, it didn't rain. So
Kerry, are you happy to like pop up every day and give a little water, or are you one of those believers where tough love again in the garden and just let them fight it?
Yeah, I'm a little bit tough love, yeah, because we have mains water on the plot, but you can't use hoses on it. So you have got to use your watering can. And I've got it's one plot down. So it's not far to go to fill up your watering can. But you've got two watering cans and you're up and down the plot like that. There's only so much you can do before
Mhm.
the back says no, you're done. Especially if you've done a full day working on the plot and then you're going to water as well. So I had this Saturday, I did a full day on the plot and I didn't think I was going to manage it. I was really tired and I'd got up early and already done a couple of hours in the garden, then went to the plot. And it was so hot as well. It was really baking. And I did a full day, did lots of jobs. And then just as I was about to leave, I thought, I haven't watered. I haven't watered. And there was no way I could leave it because yesterday I was at Malvern for the day. So knew I wouldn't be able
All right.
to go and water. So I had to stay and then do all the watering. And that really took me slightly over the edge, I would say. I had to go home straight away and have a bath and put some Epsom salts in there and hope for the best because I wanted to be well for going around Malvern yesterday.
See, we're lucky, Kerry. We've got water. I've got water at my gate, and we can use hose pipes. And I've got different hose pipes. When I first, a while ago, I dug in, so I've got different hose pipes coming up at the ground, different
Oh,
places as well. So
nice.
you
Yeah.
can, I mean, and that's one of the things with them quad grows is you don't have to water all the time, but when you do have to fill them up, it takes a while. That one, you know what I mean. So I would hate to bucket, watering can to fill up quad grows every
And the other
fortnight.
thing, of course, is that you have these water points. So ours isn't a tap; it's like a dipping fat thing. But if there are other people on the plot doing their watering as well, that water goes down really quickly, and then it really only just drips to fill
All
back
right,
up.
yes.
So if there's several of you trying to water at the same time, then you find yourself wandering off to try and find another watering point that perhaps hasn't been used so much. But I've got the IBC tank on the plot, and I've got my water butts, and obviously I could put a pipe on those and hose from those. But then you use the water so quickly. When we've had no rain, that water butt water goes just like that.
So does your IBC get filled from rainwater?
It's off the polytunnel. So
Right.
there's
Oh,
a
that's
strip of guttering along the polytunnel, and it goes
right.
into the IBC. Yeah.
So a night of your night of rain that we've just had, has it filled it up much or?
I don't know. I'm in Derby at the moment, so I'm at my partner's house, and we didn't have rain here last night. And it was only when I checked my messages this morning, I saw my sister said we had torrential rain last night, and I was like, yes.
No, we did because, like you see, all that where I normally nowadays have me nana naps outside, all that furniture was wet this morning. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah, first world problems. Can't have me sleeping at dinner time. You know what
Well,
I
I
mean?
was really glad because I'd bought these plants from Malvern and just kind of shoved them into the garden and then left to come up to Derby. And I was thinking as I was driving here, I really should have watered those before I left because I won't be back till tomorrow morning now. And then when I heard we had this rain, I was like, yes, they all got a good water then.
Audrey, what are you going to sow in directly in the ground? Is there anything you're going to sow this week or
Well, my
coming up?
carrots have just started showing their cute little seedling heads. So those were direct sowed last week. And there's beets that are sowed. I'm going to re-sow or succession sow some lettuce. I have a whole bed of lettuce that's starting to come up, and it's time to. I just do a row then in between the rows that have already started, so
Oh,
that when these ones can get cut, the new ones are ready to. So I try to keep that rolling. I'm going to be a little more conscientious about that because it's nothing like going out and picking a fresh salad I just love that. So this year I want to do that.
That's so hard, though, Audrey, to do this. Like, you know what I mean? This
It's not
succession.
it's not though.
Oh man,
You just have to put a date and do it. It's one of those things you just got to do it whether you want to or not.
you need a spreadsheet, Tony.
I
Exactly.
know.
And
It's so,
and you will appreciate it when you're out there pulling your
oh,
lettuce.
definitely. I mean, but Audrey, I, there's been I've been in the garden. I don't know. This is probably going on 3 weeks there now. I put beetroot out, and there was a little gap to like succession sow beetroot. Every time I've been gone, I forgot the bloody beetroot seeds. I forgot the beetroot, so I've just put salad in there. You know what I mean? I'm just
Well, at least you have something in there, but I would say then pin the beet seeds to like the shirt you're going to wear. So,
I've been doing that though. I've been carrying around a little plastic wallet full of the seeds that are for direct sowing. Anything I'm putting in cells, I can be pretty on top of. Like I just do that in the greenhouse and they're fine. But all these direct sowing ones, I just seem to carry them back and forth to the pots and then never get time to actually put them in.
I've got carrots, peas, and beans are probably and leeks. I've got some leeks to put in, but the carrots, peas, and beans are my coming up. They need to be done, but
yeah, mine are so closely sewn. It's going to be very interesting. I'm just going to cut off tops, but they are like little soldiers just lined up.
you know what
Which,
as well, Audrey? You know you said is it vermiculite
yes.
that you told us to? Well, I've used it all this morning. It's all gone me big bags. I had 2 big bags, vermiculite,
Wow.
and what's the other one?
Perlite.
Perlite.
Perlite. I've used it all up with the kind of the ingredients for the chilies with me compost. And I was like getting down and I was thinking, shall I keep a little bit for the, but then I've got me chili and it's gone. Can I
Chili,
use perlite, Audrey?
chilies over carrots. I don't
Oh
know.
no.
So is this your tip, Audrey, where you sow your carrot seed and then you put the vermiculite on top?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought I need to do that. That
And
was
Just
it,
a
really,
little line though, Kerry. Just like a
yeah,
little.
just a little drill. Yep.
yeah.
And
I'm
they
going to
Could I
love
try
it.
use perlite, Audrey?
I do.
So could I like I could do a little strip of perlite instead of the vermiculite.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
Has to be the
No,
vermiculite. Sorry.
okay.
no.
My mistake.
Hmm.
No,
They
vermiculite.
do, they act differently, don't they?
Yeah, perlite adds air to a soil mix. Vermiculite will retain some water.
Hmm.
Got none. I
And
have to
that's
order
the
some more.
thing when you're make with carrots, you just got to keep those babies
Mm.
Hmm.
nice and moist.
Especially out.
Oh yeah.
Those have
Well,
been my priority while I've been going up and watering. When I can't water everything, it's the carrots that I've done.
Hmm.
they will repay you for that.
Hope so. Because the first ones that I put in were in a raised bed, and I kept watering it and watering it. I had glass on top as well to keep it warm. And then when I took the glass off, of course, the weeds were really enjoying the water and the warmth as well. And they were all over the beds, and I hadn't weeded it. And just this weekend, I weeded it, and I didn't think there was anything in that bed. And there was a row of carrots and a row of parsnips, and I was so pleased.
Isn't that? I know. It's
I had to be really careful weeding, but they were there.
What about carrot root fly? Then, Kerry, how do you combat that?
I've never had it. So I don't know if that's because I've done anything. I've just been lucky. These are in a raised bed. You usually do carrots in a double raised bed at home, so they're slightly higher. But I don't tend to cover them. And the same with my alliums. I don't cover those, and I've never had the allium, whatever it's called, root.
Root
fruit
what?
minor.
Yeah, minor, that's it. Yeah. So I mean, one day, one year, it could suddenly be there, and I'll be kicking myself. But so far, so good.
Well, fingers crossed with that. I did some Japanese onions late on last year, and they look all okay. But again, you don't know until you pull them, so we'll
Exactly.
wait and
Yeah.
see. And I put me garlic in buckets this year with like bought in compost. So
Yeah, I saw your garlic in buckets. I've never done garlic in buckets
it's
before.
just purely, honestly, Kerry, like you see, you
Nice.
lift them and they're just like white mush underneath. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just they don't last, and it's just when you've got like the onion white rot, it's just
Mm.
pain. And I was saying they're actually away there now to Costco, and we bought, honestly, I swear to you, a big bag. It must be about that big, that wide, just of peeled garlic. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like cheap as chips. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like I'm only growing my garlic now as a hobby.
It'd
That's
be
it. It's not even.
ornamental. You can do nice plats of
Yes.
garlic and hang
I'll
them
just
around the house.
I'll just have them hanging. They're certainly not for eating. Do you
To
know what
be
I
fair,
mean?
that's what I've done with chilies because I cannot get through the amount of chilies that I've grown, but I've strung them up on string and I'm like hanging them over places. So it is more an ornament than anything else.
Well, it's funny. I give mine to. We've got. Would you believe we're a tiny little village, but we've got like a Mexican restaurant in the village, where my son's actually working until he goes to London. He's like in there working as one of the chefs, and they took all my chilies, and I was like, "Oh yes!" And he's sorted them out. He's kind of preserved them, and
Oh, I bet they love that.
oh, I was chuffed to bits, to be
Nice.
honest, as well. So yes.
So, Audrey, when you were over here, did you see anything that was different than you would do in the States that inspired you?
Wait, when I was over there?
When you were over here, did you see anything that was unusual, or
Uh,
I'm wondering if we did things differently to you over there?
Allotments.
oh yeah, no, but you do a whole lot different than we do. But it was more. I mean, I already know the allotments I was going to visit, so I felt like I knew exactly what I was going to find. Um, I don't know that. I mean, there's just natural differences.
Hmm.
Like,
There's nothing you came back and thought, I'm definitely doing that now.
no.
No.
Well, you didn't learn anything from the.
I,
Yeah,
I
no,
do
they
it all
don't. They
better.
know
I've
bugger
learned
all.
so much over the years that it was
So
just a culmination.
you
Hmm.
cannot teach them, eh? You know what I mean? They knows too much, the highness. You know what I mean? She's kind of, it's an
No, 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 no.
encyclopedia.
Well, it's also, you have a very different climate that we do.
Mm.
So I can't always do everything the way that you can. Because, like I said, it's 80 degrees at the end of this week. By middle of June, we'll be roasting
Mm.
over here. And I'm just hoping to get a brassica or two out before they bolt because they were just late. But, this year was different. I'm not going to beat myself up. Like, it's fine if I have to buy cabbage.
Mm.
I would rather have taken the trip than worry about my garden getting in on time.
Yeah.
Oh.
How's that? I really would.
So, Audrey, did you sleep well over here on UK mattresses and beds, or did you have no,
I'm
no?
not a good sleeper to
Oh.
begin with.
Well, that's why I was asking. I was wondering if coming over this fair isle, it might have just kind of helped the old insomnia a little bit,
No,
eh?
because
No?
when you're sleeping in a different bed every night, that gets old.
Mm.
They're similar enough, but um, yeah, 5 weeks is a very long vacation. Like, that's not a vacation. Now we're on a trek.
Hmm.
Like, this is, yeah, so we will not do 5 weeks again. But the two weeks,
We will not come back to the UK again. We
well,
will not.
the 2 weeks on the boat were pretty incredible.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's just, that's vacation. I felt like the 3 weeks at the UK was traveling.
Mm.
Well,
Like,
it was, wasn't
yeah,
it? You know what I mean? You
that
kind of
was a lot of miles, a lot of new
see.
hotels every
We,
night.
we might be a little country order, but you still got to travel up and down because when we say
Oh
we've got
yeah,
a 2 hour journey, them 2 hours are on them little roads.
which
Around the
are,
roundabouts.
gosh, those made me nuts. Kevin got him down, but I was like, oh, not another roundabout. Oh my goodness. So anyway,
So,
we're into four-way stoplights and stuff.
Mm.
so what, Audrey? What was your highlights of the trip over the UK and your lowlights?
Okay, highlights. And I don't want you to think I'm saying this just because you're sitting here, but meeting uh, my potty mouth crew, and I met Danny and Jane. Those were highlights. High
Mm.
for sure. That actually kind of made the trip for me.
Right.
Uh, had I not done that, I'd have been like, ooh. No, it was great. It was wonderful to meet all of you. Uh, Other highlight was we went to Wrexham for their final game, and they won, and it was great fun. I've never been to a football match.
How do you get the ticket for
You
them?
and they release them in a weird way. Like, they don't just put the whole season out there. They only release like 3 games at a time. So you're always checking when is the next. Anyway, we got to know this lady, Carrie, who took care of all handicap seating and stuff. She called us the day before the game and said, I got tickets for you. So
Ah.
last minute, we had front row seat.
Never.
We were right at the side of a goal. Uh, what are they called? You
Yep.
know, a
Yep.
hoopty
Goal.
goal. Yeah. I mean, the seats were incredible. And the whole Wrexham atmosphere was wonderful.
Did they storm the pitch at the end? Did they all run
Oh,
on? Yeah.
red smoke, uh, you know, wheelchairs doing like figure eights. And I'm like, anyway, it was great fun. So those were my two highlights for sure. But everybody we met was so kind, lovely, lovely people, like as a whole. Downside, The UK is not handicap accessible.
Hmm.
A little bit, but and I get it. You know, buildings were built a million years ago, and some of the areas have made some adjustments, but on a whole, it's not.
Mm.
So I would have to really think about it to come back, just because it was hard for me to get anywhere. So, but I mean, I love it. I have a very special place in my heart for the UK. Um, so, but I get it. That would be an incredibly expensive uh, proposition to make, uh, everything accessible.
Mm.
But anyway, and it wasn't even any. That was my the one big black spot on the trip for me.
So when you say inaccessible, what do you mean? Like getting into hotels or
Or more into like restaurants or pubs. I
right?
mean, we'd always ask the locals, like, where's the best pub, or where do you get your best fish and chips, whatever. And then we go there and, oh, 3 steps.
Mm.
Okay. So
Hmm.
can we eat on your porch? I mean, or we'd call and they say, oh, yeah, you can get in. And we get there and there's a step. And he's like, well, it's a wee step. And I'm like, okay, it might as well be 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
So I appreciated his, like, it's not big, but it's too big to roll over.
Mm.
So that was probably my biggest,
Hmm.
yeah. But otherwise, because I'm like, the people are so friendly, I just thought, wow, I wish the buildings were more friendly,
Mm.
because that would match the people more. But anyway, it was a great, great, great trip. And I
Mm.
was looking, my freckles are like, and this is all from the UK, because this wasn't from here.
So did you have nice weather then? Did you?
It's beautiful weather
Right.
and quite warm. We
Mm.
were kind of prepared for wet, cold weather, and we didn't get any. So we had like 2 outfits we were putting on and off, because it's like everything else is way too warm to wear. So yeah,
Well,
but
we're not prepared for it as well. This hot weather's got
Mm.
us. Do you know what I mean? Like, whoa. It's like honestly, literally, my wife's had to kind of dig out shorts that have been put away of mine for like 2 years there now. You know what I mean? Well, they're in here somewhere. You know.
right, yeah.
So
Yeah, the difference if you had come last year, Audrey. I mean, you would have just been in raincoats the entire time last year. It's a completely
Well,
different
we
story.
were ready for that. So
Is there such a shame that your timings weren't quite so that you could come to Malvern this weekend? It would
I
have been
didn't
so
even,
lovely to have
that
you
wasn't
there.
even on my radar, but also the boat, when the Queen Mary's sailing, that's when you go. So it's not like you go, can you
Just
postpone
hang
that
on
a
a couple of
week?
weeks.
Can we? So, yeah. So Queen Mary, honestly, what an experience that was.
mhm.
So that's a whole different piece of the
I
trip.
know
But
Mm.
you said when you came over, Audrey, that it was just like the food was just fantastic. You know what I mean? It
oh
was
my
just
gosh, we were kings and queens. Yeah, it
so
was.
it was. I guess accessibility on the boat was fine, was it? It's just when you got off.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. It was the whole getting off and, oh yeah,
Hmm.
everything's stone and steps. But I,
Hmm.
I, I get it. But at the time, I was like, really? Come on.
Well, honestly, I know you kind of even when you were coming, I'm like saying my house, Audrey. I've got 3 steps up into me, you know what I mean? And we don't
Right.
think about it, you know what I mean? I know that's a kind of
Right.
sin. 3 steps up, and then at the back there's a step down.
Sure.
So I know when I says, Audrey, I'll have to just meet you up there. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
But
And
your
even me,
allotment was great.
I mean, the allotment we got you up there, but couldn't have gotten you in the house.
Yeah. I mean, that's just,
Mm.
I think it's the nature of the age of buildings and,
Hmm.
you know, But again, it was a great trip, but I'm really glad I'm home.
Well, to be honest, though, Audrey, what did you say? 5 weeks. See, I'm a home bird. If it had been, I
Oh,
started to kind of pine after 10 days. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So,
Actually, on the way out, about day 5, I was getting a little cabin fever, and I thought, "Oh, we got 2 more days, and then 3 weeks, and then another week." And I've got my little cat back there who's had to be had little babysitters come for him, and I thought, oh, it's long. I would never do a 5 week.
mhm.
Never. That is long. But it was.
just, did you spend a fortune, or were you quite frugal?
Oh,
What
we
was the?
spent a bloody fortune. That's all I can say.
That's,
Yes, by far, this was an extravagant trip.
I would be upset if you didn't. To be honest, if you 5 weeks, you know what I mean, and you couldn't like.
Oh no, the Queen Mary back and forth
Mhm.
started that whole routine. So
And it was just downhill after that,
it
was
was
it? Just like.
downhill after that.
So, did you find our prices more expensive than you then? Like just say it, fish and chips or a
I
drink.
didn't notice it as much with food. Gas was very
Mhm.
high.
Mm.
Um, your garden stuff, very low,
All
which
right.
Ah,
definitely, made me, oh, I wish we could pay just that. Anyway, so yeah, it's probably similar, but you're a little higher for sure.
But just between me, you, and Kerry, right? No one else.
No one else.
Did you sneak any seeds back home?
I
I
didn't.
was going to ask the same thing.
I
You did?
didn't even. I didn't even see any seeds.
Never.
We didn't really go shopping.
No
I wasn't
garden
a
centre.
Waitrose just because I
Oh,
had to.
JB would be proud.
Just because
Oh,
I
you just
had
need.
to.
Oh, I can. JB's
Just
heart's
because
good
I
now.
had to. Uh, and Jane Kelly, I met her at a beautiful garden center. It was like a garden center plus a home goods store. I mean,
Oh.
it was like you could buy stationery
Mm.
or,
Mm.
candles. And
To be honest, there's quite a few going like that,
yeah,
Audrey, just to survive.
right. But I thought, oh, this is great. Very accessible, very nice. Um, yeah, so I will enjoy going to our garden center this afternoon. Not as highbrow as Waitrose or the garden center I met Jane in. Very brass tacks garden center, but boy, they got
Hmm.
everything.
What you gonna get?
I need to get some habanero peppers. Mine germinated very funky, and they looked all deformed. So I put
Mm.
them out of their misery. So I'm going to buy a few there. I'm going to go a little flower happy, and anything else that just shows up and I thought, oh, I need that.
So, can you go to your garden centre, Audrey, and know that plant? Say, I'm just saying habaneros. Will they be in stock? Will they?
Oh, absolutely.
Right, because it's always sometimes hit and
I would
miss
be
over here.
surprised if they weren't, because it's
Right.
still early enough that all the peppers should be present.
Hmm.
It's this garden center opens like end of May ish, and is usually closed by end of June because they just run out
Wow.
of everything. And once they're out, they close, and then they open up again early August as a fruit and vegetable market, and you can the deals. So I'm thinking, okay, if my brassicas don't make it, I can go there and get
Hmm.
uh, way more than I actually want. So I don't want to say that too much though, because then you go, well, then why don't you just Shop there for your.
Not about that, Audrey.
I
It's not.
know
It's not
it's
about
not.
that. It's about that,
It's
isn't it?
not exactly. It is not about.
That's why I've got 30,000 garlic cloves in the fridge, but I'm growing 11. You know what I mean? I've got 11 special ones.
But they do taste better. You have to, even if you don't think they do, you have to
Tell yourself.
project that onto the garlic. I
Absolutely.
think they do taste better, but because the ones you buy at Costco are obviously treated with some stuff so that they stay fresh. I mean, that's just, I've had those. I've purchased those, like, but they're a little different than what you get right out of the ground. So
Well, I'm hoping, Audrey, that there's like no like white rot on them, because that's
well, it
my
would seem
downfall.
like that would be difficult since it's new soil.
Well, we will see that, the 24th of June. That's
I
the
know.
day they're coming up.
I know you said that, and I thought, wow, you're like,
I'll tell you the hour. I'll tell you 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There you go. You know what I mean? Them babies are up.
see, mine
did
are
you-
usually July 4th weekend. So
Did you sow them on the shortest day of the year then?
No, I didn't. No. But
Earlier.
I was pretty I can't even remember, to be honest. But I was kind of me normal-ish time. But I remember Charlie Dowden saying 24th of June. So stick with the
well,
old
he
boy.
said it.
He said, you know what I mean.
Gospel.
Just before we go then, because we're getting onto the hour, what was Malvern like then, Kerry? Was it nice or?
Really lovely. Yeah, it's so nice to go with the weather like it was. Although, yeah, I probably should have put more sunscreen on and drink more water and things. I'm a bit dozy today from, I think, the bit of sunstroke yesterday, because it's a long day. It's a really long
Sunstroke.
day. Well, I just too much sun. Yeah, I think been feeling a bit headachy today, and things are definitely caught the sun. So, but yeah, really nice. You have show gardens in the spring, so that's nice to see the show gardens, which they don't have in the autumn. The autumn is more the giant veg and the like veg competitions and stuff, which is great, and it's really nice to look around. You have the dahlias, but in the spring you've got the show gardens, you've got the floral marquee, which is beautiful, and it's the last day, so you have the sell-off, so it's all cheap
All right.
at the end, and
Did you get anything?
indulged a little bit, yes. Got a few things. I got the chocolate cherry cosmos that smells like chocolate, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh,
one.
wow.
Yeah, and I got some free bunny tails as I was leaving as well. They would just take them, because the nurseries don't necessarily want to transport them all the way back when they've been sat out at the show for 4 days. But a lot of people, there are a lot of things, because they start digging things up out the show gardens and selling those off. But quite a few things were earmarked for Chelsea. So they're like, no, we're not selling that because it's going to be going to Chelsea
Right.
in a couple of weeks.
Did anyone, Kerry, go, "Hey, there's Kerry"?
They did.
Hey!
But it's mostly on the YouTube. So we had a little YouTuber meetup in the afternoon by the big RHS sign, and took a picture and everything, and met everyone and stuff, which we tend to do each show, and that's really nice, because some people you've met quite a few times now, and you're becoming friends and things, and other people you've met for the first time you've only ever seen on the screen. So yeah, it was really lovely to see everybody.
What was the price then of, let's say, a coffee or a cup of tea? Was it expensive? Like the
I imagine it was, but I took my thermos.
good girl.
And I
You're a
also
good
took
girl.
my
Yeah.
pack-up lunch.
Yeah. Oh, are you the one that sit on the bench?
Oh, I love it.
When it's exactly what we were. There were all these picnic tables about, but they were in the direct sunlight, and there were these benches in the shade. So me, my mom, my cousin and my aunt went together, and we were all sat in a row on the bench with our packed lunches on our knees, eating. And you could just see in the distance one of the festival theatres where they were giving a talk, and they got big screens outside, so you didn't have to be inside the theatre. You could watch what was going on from outside, and they were arranging flowers and things, so you could watch that while you're eating your lunch. So,
See, Audrey smile. That's so English, Audrey, isn't it?
I think you would have loved it.
Egg and cress
Really
sandwiches.
and it was very accessible there as well. They've got an actual car park that's right by, like, you go almost directly from the car park and you're in the center of everything. And Ali and Trisha were there, and obviously Trisha's in her motorized scooter, and you can just go straight in, and they had them all for rent as well, so you didn't have to bring your own. You could just get one when you were
All
there.
right.
And they'd got proper flooring all the way through that they'd put down, so you weren't going over rocky areas and things like that. So yes,
nice.
very accessible there.
This is Malvern's RHS, isn't it? Like
Yeah, the
it's one of
spring
the
one is RHS.
right.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
the autumn one isn't.
right. Well, Audrey, it's lovely to have you back sitting
Have some
at the you know what I mean. She's come, but we've got her back there. Keep her nice and safe there. She's
Yes,
back.
I tend to stay this way.
Yes,
Yes, thank you.
Audrey, where can we find you then?
Well, and I'll just say this too. This week, I think 3 videos are coming out. One, I've never fully explained my injuries from December, so I thought I'm going to update everybody on really what that was all about. I'm going to talk about the trip, and I'm going to talk about the Queen Mary, because those are and then we'll get into gardening. So I'm at realfoodcomesdirty.com, YouTube, and Instagram.
Well, Audrey, it's lovely to have you back. Thank you again. Kerry, where can we find you?
I'm Dog on the Plot on YouTube and on Instagram.
Cool. Short and sweet. No Patreon yet. Get that sorted
Still
out
not,
there, Kerry.
no. Thinking
that
about
sorted
it. I
out.
need some concentrated time over the summer to figure it out. It's
Well,
hard.
everyone in the chat, big thank you for coming in. Thank you so much. It's lovely to see there's quite a few in the day there. So everyone else, look after yourselves. Take good care. Toodle pip.